In this video, we're going to talk about the number one difference between homeschooling versus traditional school.
Kids watch. Moms talk. MomGamers.
This is a really perfect video because my sister is not only just a wonderful wife and mom, but she's an educator for more than 19 years. She taught high school English and also a bit of middle school. I, on the other hand, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschooled my children for quite a few years too, and I still do. So homeschooling is my life, and for my sister was teaching at a public school for many years. May, what do you think is the big difference between conventional school, traditional schooling?
Versus homeschool?
Yeah.
Okay, well, because I have not done homeschooling, but just from what you from the stories you told and your experience, I think with traditional schools, and when I say traditional schools, I'm talking about like public schools, because that's, I taught public school for so long. I think public schools are so, let's see, they have, they're like standards, objectives, trends that are imposed upon teachers and schools. I think every state has, standardized testing. Districts have standardized testing. There are even like objectives and standards for that are guide the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much outside factors that filter into the classroom. And then not only that too, once in a while, not once in a while, like constantly you have trends that are maybe, let's say trends that are developed maybe in academia, like at the university level or somebody from the Department of Education. And then those trends are filtered down and are into the classroom, and teachers have to abide by them.
Can you give me an example of one of those trends?
Okay, so for example, right now, as far as dealing with discipline, there's a thing called restorative justice.
Oh, that's a big word.
Right. It's the idea that kids, particularly based on some of these people driving the trend, is that kids, particularly kids of color, are more likely to be suspended or expelled from school. So therefore, they have been unfairly disciplined or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the discipline has not been fair. And granted, yes, to some level, yes, that has to be looked at. We have to make sure discipline and expectations are the same for everyone across the board. But the problem with that is like some of the people driving this trend, they have not been, they're not educators.
Yes.
They have not been in the classroom. And I'm not talking about just, dressing up nice in your suit and your ties and your dress or whatever and walking to the classroom and impressing all the kids for a day or so.
Day.
Yeah, I wish anybody who wants to make any decision about education, I wish they would come and spend a month or two and actually volunteer in the classroom, help the teacher, know the curriculum, know what the standards, know the course objectives, and help the teacher get a child who might have challenges or who might be reluctant to learn or whatever the child's issue is, get that child to learn, to like, learning, to accomplish, some of these skills. So I just wish that, people who write books, people who lecture, people who try to shape rules about education, I just want them to come into the classroom, not for a day, but spend a month or two and to actually immerse themselves into what makes a classroom work, what helps students learn. So going back to restorative justice, because that's a trend of trying to come up with different ways to deal with discipline, which is fine.
Uh-huh.
But then schools are pressured to implement it, to do something, to make a show that they're doing something. So then the flip side is then they sweep things under the rug. Like instead of dealing with behavior issues and trying to teach a kid how to behave or teach a kid strategies, there's so much pressure on teachers and administrators to to just put a band-aid on it. You know what I mean? So, for example, if a kid doesn't want to go to class, okay, then the kid is pretty much left to kind of roam around or do something because you don't want to, you don't want to. You don't want anything that's considered punitive. You know what I mean? So, and I have heard students who are very tired of this restorative justice too, because
Like the good students.
even good students and even students who are bad. I mean,
Really?
because first of all, some of the students that they're like, okay, so like on day one, so and so disrupts the class or gets into an argument or gets into a fight or something. So our learning has been compromised. So the next day, now we had to sit around in circles and talk about so and so's behavior, even though I had nothing to do with it. Even though, like,
this is during class time.
right, 80% of us. 80% of us had nothing to do with the disruption. If anything, our learning was compromised because of the disruption. So now the next day, the 80% of us have to sit around in circles and talk about so-and-so's issues.
Wow.
And so now our learning is even more compromised. And even parents, parents parents of color, they're like, what's the point of all these circle talks, all these circles,
Wow.
because some of these kids are not getting that, they're not being taught how to respect rules or how to navigate, how to articulate their emotions and feelings and how to communicate whatever it is that they need to get across in order to understand something. And now the schools are pretty much doing the same thing too. So I mean, this topic I could go on, and this topic is actually going to, to really talk about this. It takes more people and takes much more time than this, but I feel that this is just another trend. Well, just like even like Common Core, I mean, like,
oh yeah,
Common Core standards. So I feel like there are people who are not, they're not immersed in education. They're not in the classroom. They have a job where maybe at a university level or at some sort of government department.
Their PhD.
PhD or government department or something, and fancy titles, but they're not in the classroom. They don't see what teachers go through. They don't see what the kids go through. And even kids themselves, they're tired of things that come down, and then they had to jump hoops. The teachers had to make them jump hoops instead of actually learning.
Sissy, that's a mouthful. That's so
know.
much. Thank you for sharing. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, Sissy. And you've had so many years of experience in a school setting, from affluent to low-income schools too. That's what I like.
Right.
For me, one thing about, if I could do one thing, the one thing about homeschool, I think the big takeaway is that it is a mindset, lifestyle acceptance. It should not be a chore or a work, but rather dive into it, mindset, open up your mind that this is an extension or an expansion of parenthood or motherhood, depending on who's teaching. But it should be a learning a whole new other side of yourself that you never knew you could have, so that when you do that, then you could really wholeheartedly go into homeschool with fun, with excitedness, with curiosity to learn to love, and love to learn, and really think of, again, it's a mindset change, it's a lifestyle change, and also it's a new, different kind of relationship you have with your children. Before, you think your children are just to clean up your room, sit down, eat, go use the bathroom, clean up, and you repeat. But instead, now it's like, I teach you. Also, I learn from you too. What could I improve? So that's kind of if I can give the one answer, is it's a lifestyle change and it's a mindset change for homeschool. I want to hear your thoughts about, what do you homeschool? Do you go to a traditional school? Are you a teacher? Let us know in the comments. Tell a friend about our channel, ladies. I really appreciate you tuning in, and subscribe so that we can keep our channel growing. Take us with you on your phone. That's a big plus. A lot of YouTubers, people who watch YouTube, watch it on their phones now. It's available. It's a global platform. I really love it. And thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye. And that's it.